Actually, not this year. There's a thing called road. We'll have signs. This thing called road markers. Just a vinyl piece of tape that degrade over time. And we'll be using those. Just like
Something you can pick up.
it's something like just wear away over a period of time. It doesn't come out. So many bike rides all over. It's hard to tell which arrows are for the ride. These are very nice. They're very bright, and they are biodegradable. So they will.
Yeah, that's something that
All right. Yes.
and then if it gets down to it, we decide to start the emergency response.
Most of the time, experience with those. I'm with good from Team Hampshire, and we do a lot of charity. Last year we raised $120,000 for the next city this year. We raised about 18,000 for cancer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine notice. This meeting is called pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting is April the 13th. 2015 was included in a list of notices sent to the Central Record, Burlington County Times, and Courier Post, posted on the bulletin board at Town Hall, and has remained continuously posted as required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Roll call, Mr. Barton.
Present.
Mr. Franzen.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee's going to be late. He's coaching a baseball team, so he'll be here as soon as the game ends.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Yates.
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here. For this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment on agenda items only. It's only the items that are on the agenda. We're not going to be taking any comments on public hearing items. They will have their own special time. Any public comment? Earl?
I'm not exactly sure how to do this, so I thought I'd just do it. You have two things on the agenda. You have the item number 7, Pedal for Promise and Challenge Atlantic City. And you tabled the Challenge Atlantic City last week. And I just want to tell you, I met with them. We talked about how they're going to set up areas, how we do traffic control, and the way they're going to run. I'm prepared to brief any member of the committee on it and show them up. I got a slide presentation from them, but more information if you ever want. But I would encourage you to go ahead and endorse that. Thank you. I can't speak for the person.
Okay. Just a second. Thank you. Public comment? Mr. Bruce?
Fran Grove, Small Center Road. Just a couple of quick questions on the bill list. Under the Blaze emergency equipment, okay. There's obviously brake service for 4311. I assume that's 4311 fire truck. And then the auto eject airline repaired, is that a fire truck or is that something else? Fire truck. Okay. And any particular fire?
4314.
4314. Okay.
It's underneath. It's on, no, it's not. It's
No, just 4311 is there.
Fair.
Yeah, no problem. And on page 2, under INS 50, Insurance Agency Management, what is that for? Who's it for? The $2,400? It says fire company, but Why is this not covered by the JIP?
Let me get to the,
I'm sorry. It's on the second page, INS 50.
Page 5.
Page 5. Oh. Oh, you have to get this. Okay.
oh, okay. Hold on one second, I'll pull it.
I think that means a rolling file cabinet.
Is the renewal of the accident and health policy as provided to the fire company. It's the same policy that the district provided for them before. It's not an item that would normally be included in the JIP.
I see. And what's the total amount of that policy?
$2,407.
That's the annual charge.
There may be some adjustments, but that's, I won't know that until after they submit it.
Okay, so that's for that $2,500 is a 2015 charge.
There may be some minor adjustments after they do the review of the membership.
I see. Okay, and when will that review be done?
I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess by the end of July, if not before.
Okay.
Normally it takes 30 to 60 days,
And then they come in and do
and
the,
either give us a credit or an added adjustment.
what would that credit or added adjustment be?
Number of
into?
members.
Number of members, okay, great. That's it, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Sue Brooks, 78 Morris Meadow Road. A question regarding reports. The last report that was given on the fire company activities was February 9. I believe that was regarding January's activities. Is there going to be a report for fire company activities and responses at this meeting?
It probably will be at the next meeting, at the regular meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, I'm going to go to public comment. Can I have a motion to approve bills?
So moved. Second.
Any comments or questions from the committee?
Yeah, Doug, I saw rock salt, are you fully loaded 100%?
Not yet, we will be as of tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. 2015 municipal budget, resolution 2015-58, authorizing the reading of title for the 2015 budget. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make it.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Franzen?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. This time, our auditor, Renee.
Okay, thank you. As you know, this year we were under state review. Every 3 years we do, the state does a thorough review of our budget. They came back with just a few comments. There is one budget amendment that we need to look at tonight. The pension bill that was originally given to us was a little lower than what the actual bill was. We got the new bill, it's about $6,500 higher than what we had anticipated. I took the liberty of taking that money out of cable TV fees. We had initially budgeted $10,000 for cable TV fees, and we've been realizing in excess of $20,000. So I just made an adjustment to that revenue line item and adjusted the pension bill. Also, there was one other issue. Last year we had a grant that, for whatever reason, we didn't do a Chapter 159, which, as you know, adds the grant to the budget after the budget's been adopted. For whatever reason, that didn't get done. but we spent the funds, therefore we had an over expenditure of a grant. So what I'm doing is this year anticipating the revenue from that grant to cover the deferred charge and the over expenditure from the previous year. And they simply wanted me to move it to a different line item within the budget. So the only thing we're really adding to the budget is about additional $6,500 in pension costs, and I'm anticipating an additional $6,500 in cable TV fees. Then what I would suggest is that we first hold the public hearing on the introduced budget, then we can close that, and then we can take a vote on the amendment, and you'll need to open the public hearing again for the amendment only, and then you can vote to adopt the budget.
Okay. So we're gonna do a public hearing.
Do the public hearing on
Budget itself.
the introduced budget.
Is there any questions from the committee or? This time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment on our budget, open the public hearing. Please, when I recognize you, come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Stuart Brooks, 78 Moores Meadow Road. Regarding line item 135-200, annual audit, OE, office expenses. I'm not sure what the O stands for.
Other expense.
Other expenses.
Everything is categorized either as salary and wage or other expense.
Okay. There's an increase of $5,000 from 24 to 29 proposed. Why is that? What does that include?
I believe that's to cover the fire district.
Fire district audit.
In the fire district audit wasn't $5,000.
Who does that fire?
We're going to do the fire district audit this year. In the past, it's been done by someone else. I'm not sure he was really interested in doing it, quite frankly, and Township committee has hired us to finish up the job.
Okay.
It'll be a one-year audit.
And on line item 150-100, assessment of taxes, salary and wages. There's an increase in the salary line to $9,600. Who is that for, and what's the purpose, what's being done this year that might not have been done last year?
What sheet are you looking at?
The sheet that I have, it's 150-100, assessment of taxes, SMW. 2014 adopted number was 9,100.
13,
Sheet 13.
sheet 13.
As for the assistant, for the assessor,
We met with the assessor a couple times over the summer, and he indicated that he doesn't use an assistant, and that's why I questioned that.
well, she goes over and does work during the week when he's not here, so.
Would that be Mrs. Dorina? And does Jay supervise her work or work with her?
Yes.
All right. The next item, 155-200. I can't give you a different number or a better number or a paper number.
That's fine.
It's legal expenses. These increased significantly from 2014 to 2015, roughly $32,000 to $9,700. With all due respect to Mr. Lamb's work, I understand how litigation can be unanticipated, and there might be additional requirements that no one foresaw when the budget was made the prior year. I also know that the dissolution of the fire company was a significant case that took a lot of legal work, and the Crown Castle case was a case that took a lot of legal work. But why does the committee think that on a regular ongoing basis there's a need for an increase of almost 60%? What do you anticipate now that wasn't in place last year?
We're currently in litigation right now.
Well, you're in litigation almost all the time on any given day. A lot of that is just routine. And
Most money.
Why is it 60% more expensive this year than last?
Based on what we spent last year and versus on the anticipated legal defenses this year.
Are there any particular legal defenses that you don't already have in front of you that you anticipate having? You see what I'm asking? I mean, if someone files suit in the future, if someone's filing suit against you in the future, you're not going to know about it now. All you know is what you spent the year before.
And prudent budgeting means that we are budget for it.
But you only dissolve a fire company once, it's already gone.
But we seem to have other litigation that seems to be occurring on a regular basis.
In small degrees. Well, there are some cases that are larger than others. Crown Castle is a large one. You work on the fire district's a large one. I didn't know what other cases you have in mind that might be large and significant as opposed to routine. Okay, I hear your answer. I gather that's the best answer you can give. I'll go with it.
There's a 200-pound elephant in the room. You figure it out as well as I can.
I'm not sure what you're saying, Mr. Kramer.
The litigation is ongoing. It has seemed to have increased over the last few years. That's all I'm saying.
I'll accept that for the comment that it is. And my last question, I would probably best directed to Mr. Brennan. As I understand this budget, it has a surplus of roughly $100,000. Am I right in that?
I'm not sure what you're asking. The budget has a surplus?
Yeah, what's the anticipated surplus? I think it's $100,000. And my question is, for a budget of roughly $4 million.
Oh, okay, you're saying what's going to be left?
Isn't there an amount that is we kept in surplus?
Yes.
So in layman's terms, for a rainy day.
It's about $100,000.
What percentage of the total budget do you ordinarily recommend be put in the surplus account, be kept in surplus? Because I know you deal with a lot of other municipalities.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, my answer would be different than it is today. Given the 2% cap limitations and given the increase in pension, it's very difficult to keep a surplus that you would be comfortable with. Would I like to see more surplus? Certainly I would, but we also have the needs of taxpayers involved, and I don't think there's any reason to increase the tax rate prior to when we need to. I do see the time when we're going to start to run low on surplus, and that'll probably affect the tax rate in the future. $100,000, we generally will generate $500,000 to $600,000 to put back into surplus, especially with a good tax year, especially coming off where we're now through our reassessment program, which always affects our collection percentage. So would I like to see higher surplus? Absolutely, but given the days and the times that we deal with, I think 100,000 is sufficient.
What I asked today was, what do you recommend today? What percentage do you normally recommend that municipalities to represent?
I like to try to keep a flat surplus, whatever. I don't like to see it jump up and down. I mean, I can't tell you a specific percentage rate. First off, I'm an auditor. I'm not really supposed to be giving financial advice. I'm supposed to be outside of the decision-making process. I do help with the budget, but that's really not my role here. But I like to see the surplus be maintained at a certain level. I'd like to see it at this town probably $600,000 to $700,000 to $800,000 is where I'd like to see it maintained. With $100,000, generally we're putting back $600,000 or $700,000 in unexpended appropriations in excess revenue. So I would think we fall in the $70,000 and $100,000 range, which is where I'd like to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other budget questions? Mrs. Brooks?
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Just picked up the wrong paperwork. I'm also working off this same budget presentation that is Cranbrook's Morris Meadow Road. My questions, first of all, let's go back to the assessment of taxes. It is interesting that there's a conflict here because Jay Renwick told us very expressly during the summer that he doesn't use Margaret Farina at all. So to hear that she is doing work is a conflict with what the assessor said. Having said that, the $39,380, the other expenses, what is that for? What does that encompass?
Mostly Jay's salary, because it's a shared service agreement with the Roushimon Township. So that's how we pay it out of operating O&E.
Okay, okay. The engineering services were, have gone up 5,000, but you only encumbered spent about 50 in 2014. Why are you adding why are you pushing the budget up to 85?
We anticipate, we're doing a number of grant projects in which we're not allowed to charge the grant for the engineering services. One of them is the Community Development Block Grant. The other is the Recreation Grant,
And
2013, so I can't charge that engineering fees against the grant itself. That's provision in both of those grants. So we're charging, we'll have those projects. I have the tail end of the 11th of the 2011 recreation grant, and I have the majority of the 2013 recreation grant to be spent this year.
okay.
So they're the projects, plus we're doing an extensive amount or proposing to do an extensive, let me reframe that because we haven't funded it yet. Engineering on a number of drainage issues in town, that I discussed at my presentation. I expect the engineering to come out of that, do the majority of that, maybe not all of it.
What will the community development block grant cover?
It covers the ADA accessibility. Basically, it's the hard surfaces that we need to put down to put the new improved ADA qualified bleachers.
Okay. And the rec grant?
The rec grant is working on the bleachers themselves because they're a non-permanent item. I can't use that in CDBG money. It has to be a permanent structure for that grant, so we're buying them out of the other grant. We're also doing some improvements with some shade areas over the picnic tables and some dugout roofs and benches for both the softball and baseball fields.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. The emergency management categories, the S&W is 6,900 and the O&E is 11 grand. Just basically, at the March 9th meeting, I was questioning the expenditures of some training, CPR training that the TRS conducted, and also there was some equine training and for the CERT. And it was stated that, and there were people attending the training who were not Tabernacle residents, and we were paying for their training, and I asked why that is, and the answer came back that these are people who are part of the CERT, and their townships have make allocations when we participate. Essentially, that was the net of the response. And so, because it's kind of curious that we're paying, even they may be members of the Pineland CERT, but Tabernacle residents are still picking up the costs of their training. And while their townships are probably getting the benefit, but not having to pay anything. So in response to the statement that was made on the record, I actually offered 16, all the townships, there were 16 of them that participate in the Pineland CERT. And basically the results are pretty simple. Not one of the 16 townships has a line item for the Pineland CERT. No money's going in, they expressly stated that in their cover letters. And two, even their OEM line item had no allocation for their participation. So the question is, we're picking up the cost. Why are we picking up all of those costs? Why isn't this being shared by all the townships? Because they're getting the training which they can then use at their townships. Why isn't this a shared responsibility?
First of all, you just said 16 towns?
16 members of the Pineland CERT, that's what I counted from the documents that were sent to me. There are 16 people in the Pineland CERT who come from other townships. There are 16 different townships.
That's a much different statement than what you just said. You said 16 towns participate.
Well,
Pineland CERT,
let's not
and that's-
mince words
No,
here.
that's a big
All I'm
difference.
saying, Doug, is that there are 16 members of our Pineland CERT. They
Yeah.
represent 16 different townships.
Wait. It's a budget hearing. The question is whether or not, the money we have is for OEM operation expenses.
Well, the other expenses for OEM are obviously going to pay.
No, you're making that assumption. It's not necessarily for training. I'm sure Colonel Lowe has things that he needs for the Pineland CERT.
Well, I know those training costs came out of OEM though. I mean,
So
from your
some of them
village.
did, well,
so-
the training cost did. We're a Pineland CERT, which is a shared service amongst the community. We take the lead on the Pineland CERT.
Do you have a shared service agreement with all these other townships? Do we have a shared service? Because I
The
asked that
question,
question.
we're talking about the budget. We're
Well,
not going
this
to talk
is a
about
budget
shared service
question.
agreement. You
This
can
is
ask a
because
question
it's
about the budget.
expenditures.
And we gave you the answer. It's the OEM operational expenses headed up by Colonel Lowe.
And it's not just CERT expenses. The safety programs run out of that department, and so does the CERT. And his operations are emergency management.
You're still not really answering the question. We have people who are getting trained. We, as Tabernacle residents, are paying
All right,
for
you
their
got
trainings, but they're
your
getting,
answer.
other townships are getting the benefit. Why would you not?
And so are the Tabernacle residents getting the benefit.
Why would you not want other townships to participate in supporting these efforts? Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, the way people can look at that is that we are the bank for all of these townships.
And that may be the way you look at it. I'm sorry you do.
But first of all, it's not 16 different towns.
No, I'll provide you with the information.
I know
Thank
who
you.
belongs to the CERT. It's not 16 different towns.
Well, I counted from the CERT list that I requested and counted 16 towns. That doesn't mean that there were 16 people from outside who participated in the training, but there are 16 townships
Some of these
represented
people
in
don't represent their town. All they come is to join our Pineland CERT.
Yes, but they also probably assist. Well, according to what
There isn't a CERT in some of these towns nowadays.
Doug, I'm not going to argue with you. The bottom line is that we're paying the training for all of these other places, and really, it should be a shared cost. And it is incomprehensible to try to, just like with TAA, we're just paying everybody else's costs. Why not ask for something? Why not ask for some contribution? Why are we picking up that cost? You asked your
All right,
land
thank you for your
development
comment.
secretary
You asked your question.
to pay the cost of
You
her
got your
training.
answer. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Any other public comment on?
John Cooper, 21 Woodside Drive. I have a question on utility expenses and bulk purchases. In fuel oil, 2014, $20,000. This year it's $40,000. The price of fuel is probably going to hit what it used to be. Why have a 100% increase in the cost of fuel? Gasoline and diesel is $48,300. That also increased to $65,000. It's a large increase for something that has gone way down in price appears that it's going to stay down that price.
Okay.
More than double it. Sheet 15B.
Okay. It's twofold. One, you'll see that we spent close to 20,000. We had, and second of all, we picked up a firehouse we didn't have before. That we didn't have the responsibility for the fuel.
That's not going to pay.
I've seen some bills, it's not gonna, it may not double it, and I can't predict where the price of fuel is going to be.
Bet your house is going to stay down. I'm just telling you.
And the price of the diesel and gasoline is based on what the fire district spent last year in addition to what we spent.
I have one other question. There's the township building improvements, $1,500,000. Is that, I know that a few meetings ago, you guys decided not to make improvements to the old rescue squad. It's probably a wise decision. What is this $1.5 million going to be used for? Because you haven't spent all the money from what was anticipated for the other building yet. Sheet 40C.
That's proposed capital program. It is where we projected where things were. It was the presentation I made a couple of meetings ago. I don't know if you were here for that. Probably. Okay. When I talked about all the buildings, and we talked about afterwards, I don't know if it was the next meeting, we talked about that the community center, we didn't think the space committee was looking at other options for that. This is out there as proposed. We haven't bonded for that money yet, and when we do, we'll explain what programs are. It may be that amount, it may be less.
So it may just disappear if nothing happens then.
It's a proposal where we think we're going to go until we bond for the money
Okay.
we haven't spent.
Thank you.
Any other?
Kathy Berger, 18 Woodside Drive. I believe we talked about insurance a couple months ago about reallocating money. It wasn't in the right line items. We moved it around, so I'm thinking the increases, although both line items are increased. So you have a $29,000 increase to liability and an $18,000 to workers' comp.
Roughly.
Do we know why?
And the addition of the fire company.
We did get those numbers then?
We
'Cause-
didn't get those numbers, these are just budget numbers.
Gotcha. Okay. And then public works salary wage, are we thinking we're gonna hire someone new?
We have a retiree, and then we may be going with part-time people in that place.
Okay. And the O&E jumped significantly.
That's because the fire company's funds are in public works.
Okay. The vehicle maintenance and such, I would think?
Yeah.
Okay. And same with buildings and grounds, I was thinking that was the addition of a new building.
Yes.
Okay. I asked this 2 months ago, recreation. Why do we have a line item for recreation? What do we do with that money?
We provide for the senior dinner, we provide for the senior bus trips, we provide for the parade. That may be, that's all I can think of.
That probably covers it.
Yeah,
And you have aid to volunteer fire company, 90,000.
yes.
How did we derive that number?
Work on what the number that the district did, and we looked at the possibility of shifting some cost over to them once the budget was passed. Some building maintenance.
So we're gonna work on that agreement again?
Yeah,
Okay. Do we have an anticipated time frame for that one?
I'm hoping to do it.
All right, and now my elephant in the room that I always talk about. The volunteer ambulance corps. We're sticking with 70,000 again?
Actually, the 70,000 is down to 66 plus $4,000 that came over from the budget.
project in the district.
All right. Well, we know that we publicly discussed the letter that was received from the squad that says they had 47,000 outstanding at the end of the year, which I'm assuming was money that was still left over November, December billings that hadn't come in yet. So I don't feel their true outstanding balance is really 47,000. So we're still, again, going to stick with 66 and 4. And we're still going to pay their gas and their insurance and everything else we do for them. All right, I'll come back up the next time and tell you what I'd like with that. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the budget? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment, budget.
And vote on the amendment.
I have a motion for the approved 2015-59 budget amendment.
I'll make the motion.
Your outline is what? Everyone's already said.
Yeah, that, for the pension,
And then-
Second.
Any questions or comments from committee? Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Franzen,
Yes.
Mr. Yates,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment on the budget amendment only. Is there any public comment for the budget amendment? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2015-60, municipal budget adoption? Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make it. Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Barton,
Yes.
Mr. Franzen.
Yes.
Mr. Yates,
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes. Resolution 2015-61, award of contract to Rosenbauer, South Dakota LLC.
I'll make the motion.
So this time I'm going to open the floor. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comments on the purchase of the fire truck.
Mike, 18 Wood Road West, Tabernacle, New Jersey. Do you have a percentage on the loan? Are you bonding for this fire truck?
Any other public comment? Yes, Mr. Brooks?
Stuart Brooks, 78 Wars Meadow Road. How did the program for determining what we needed to buy in a truck, how was that put together? Because when the ordinance was first addressed, it just showed up. Who put that together? How did they decide what it should include?
You're talking about the fire truck itself?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is that not the same fire truck that the commission is going to
Very
purchase?
similar.
Very similar. So it'd be,
It's my understanding the truck committee at the fire company, when it was Metro Farms, and then after it became Tabernacle, there was a continuation of the truck committee that studied this for a number of years. And I sat through one 5-hour session of going over specifications and let the professionals that are firefighters look at what they needed. They worked on committee, it had old members to newer members, talked about the needs and what they looked at for safety. I witnessed that, and then there was a recommendation was made, but it was the same recommendation really that was made in the fire district.
I understand that. My comment's more on process. How come that wasn't shared with the public? Because I, for one, would have been very interested to know what the experts and the professionals had in mind and why they thought what they thought and why they reasoned what they reasoned. And it would have been very educational from a lot of different perspectives. And my comment is that on this matter, and I'm speaking only on this matter, I think that we've shortchanged the public by not sharing that information and doing it in a public way. I appreciate, Mr. Kramer, that you witnessed it, but I would have liked to have witnessed it too. And I suspect there are others who would have liked to have witnessed it as well. And more to the point, I think that's the sort of thing that should be discussed in public. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the fire truck? Seeing none, I'm closing public comment. I have a motion to approve.
I'll make it.
Second.
Any questions or comments from committee? Roll call, please.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Resolution 2015-62, appointment of deputy municipal clerk, office clerk. And that will be Natalie Lewis. What was that?
Natalie Lewis.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments from committee? Roll call?
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Resolution 2015-63, approving raffle license for the Church of the Holy Eucharist. Same situation as
The committee, is very familiar with, there's a doctrine of necessity issue to vote on a local, essentially ministerial act wherein the committee would otherwise be unable to act, so we would invoke the doctrine of necessity and ask you to vote on this resolution.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Resolution 2015-64 and 65, street opening permit for South Jersey Gas 95 Richter Road and Patty Boker Road and Lillian Street, 11 properties. Can I have a motion, please?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Roll call, please.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Yates?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes. Resolution 2015-66, authorizing placement of temporary signs of public right-of-way for community yard sale. Can I have a motion?
I'll make it. Second.
Any questions or comments? Roll.
Is this all just Wimbledon Way, LaShawn, do you know, or is it more streets or the whole neighborhood? Or?
Should be Wilmington, Waltham, Plymouth Court, Dunbarton. And it says Powell Place Road.
Those are the only places they're putting the signs, or are they putting them?
No, that's the road, that's the neighbors who are participating.
Oh, these are the following corners. Particular corners.
Two of them are in Southampton, which we can't comment on. New Road, Wimbledon Way, and Waltham, Waltham and Plymouth, Waltham and Dunbarton, Waltham and New Road.
First two, 70 and Friendship.
Friendship are in Southampton.
And we're not going to vote on those because they are not our roads.
Previously, we've asked them to contact Southampton Township for permission to place signs in the road areas specified on Route 70, Kennedy Road, and also New Road and Friendship. And I We also asked them to contact the school, the location of the road by entrance to the middle school.
It's not on here. No. Back in, many days for side yard sale that's going to take place on